Are we happy with the start of the season? It's another international break, check-in. We are sitting in the top 10, only 3 points off 7th. However, there are injuries going on as well. We'll be discussing what's been going on so far this season. Are we impressed? Is there room for improvement? And more. Let's get started with Palace News. What is going on, people? Welcome to Live Palace News. It always feels great saying it. We are here on a Monday night. Sorry for the delay, but let's just say this. If the delay didn't happen, then my room could be stinking. I had to go to the toilet after work. And that was the main reason for it. But look, we are here. If you do enjoy the stream, make sure to leave a like and subscribe and let us know your thoughts in the live comment section and in the comment section down below. If you're watching on replay, are we happy with the season so far? We'll be just going through our feelings and thoughts. I think a lot of us will be happy, but it'll be interesting to see if some ain't, and why not. The only downside that I can think of, T, is pretty much injuries. But apart from that, we'll start off with your thoughts. I think it's been relatively impressive. In fact, not relatively. I think it's been very impressive when you put wider context of things. But what have you made of it? 8 games in, sitting 9th, 3 points off 7th. Have you been surprised?
I mean, if you would have told me before this season that we could be in the position that we're in with being inside the top 10 after going into a second international break, especially if you with this many injuries, man, I don't see how you could be upset. To be honest with you, I'm more than happy with where we are. Now, hoping that in these next 2 weeks we can hopefully get 1 or 2 guys back to help us out because, who knows how long the magic will hold with the current situation that we have with these injuries.
Yeah, 100%. But as I said, hit the like button if you're coming in now. It helps the algorithm massively as well. And I think I lean on the same aspect with UT. I think it's the injuries, really. That's the only downside. But has there been any games this season where you have felt that we could have done more with the players that we've got? The only one I can think of is Fulham at home. Because I felt like we were a bit too negative. But apart from Fulham, it's been, look, a lot of people want us to see attacking football, but you can't have attacking football when you don't have attackers on the pitch that have quality. And I think that's been the issue since day one. Even when Eze's been on the pitch, I've been thinking, well, cool, Eze has had his moments, but him and Elise, their connection is special. We've seen it in the past. So when Elise comes back, we're only going to improve naturally. So even in the attack, even with Eze there, we still haven't seen the levels that we will be seeing when them attackers come back. Maybe against Fulham, we could have took a bit more risk. But apart from Fulham, I can't really think of any other game that I was disappointed with the result. The Arsenal one, maybe we could have got a point, potentially, if we didn't fall asleep. Then again, they created a few chances. I think it's just a Fulham one. The Forest one at home, that's another one that you're thinking maybe on paper we should be getting 3 points if you put, Palace and Forest together with the players that we got. But those players weren't available. So I was happy with a point. But any other games for you?
No. I mean, I think the Fulham one stands out, but at the same time, we could have been talking about a match that you don't win at all. And we could be sitting here with getting 0 points out of that match and wishing that we could have gotten a point comparatively to now where we have the point and we wish we could have got a win. But I mean, I'm not too displeased otherwise. I mean, going into the Nottingham match, especially with losing Decore prior to the match, there was a lot of things going against us. And going against Nottingham, who hadn't been playing bad. Like they've been playing pretty decent. So no, I can't be upset with the way things have turned out to this point.
Yeah. In terms of plays, what plays have 8 games in have impressed you the most in this run of games? Would you go with the defense? I mean, defensively, we've been fantastic, T. Drawing top clean sheets alongside Arsenal. And that's what gets me excited because this is the start. This is not the end product. We're just seeing the start of this Palace side. You put Elise there. You even put Franca as a backup attacking option. Even Lerma. Lerman's been missing as well. You put Lerma in midfield alongside, Eze and then you have Elise, you have Edward, who's missed 1 or 2 games as well due to injuries, who's had a very good start. This side will improve and get them goals as well as being solid defensively, as we saw last season under Roy Hodgson in the last 10 games. But for you, players, talk to me. Who's it for you that's been like, all right, he's had a very good start to the season. So let's just say this: 8 games in, if you had to pick a player of the season, player of whatever, 2 months, not a season, who would it be right now? Because I don't think it's easy as well. There's been a few.
It's not easy. And if I'm picking player of the season, I'm probably giving it to Sam Johnston. Just because, I mean, he's not only what he's done with the clean sheets, with which right now he's leading the Premier League in clean sheets, but he's made some fantastic saves, man. Fantastic saves. So if I'm going player of the season, it's probably Sam. If I'm just talking about a guy that I'm the most impressed with, most happy with these run of games in the season, it's got to be Will Hughes for me. It's got to be Will Hughes, because
he stepped up very well as a backup option. Very well.
Yes, because I think
it surprised me a bit.
Because the reason I say that, D, too, is because when we talk about replacement players or bench players, squad players, and you talk about them having to step into a role after an injury, I think prior to him stepping in, a lot of people felt like the drop off from having Lerma to then having Will Hughes was going to be a lot larger than we have come to see here. Will Hughes has been fantastic in the midfield as far as his work rate, his ability to win the ball, his ability to not make mistakes, bringing energy, breaking up play. He's been fantastic there, and I think the only thing that you may miss with somebody like Jefferson Lerma is the attacking acumen that Lerma may have, or some of the passing game that he has. But other than that, man, like Will Hughes has been has stepped in and hasn't really, we haven't missed a beat with him in that position, so to speak. So I think he would be the one that I would choose. What about you?
Yeah, for me, I think there's a comment here from K Chambers 95. He says all back four have been doing bits, and I have to agree. I think Gay and Anderson have both impressed me. They've been impressing me for ages, to be fair. So that's not really a surprise there. Mitchell, he's quietly had a good start to the season as well.
Mm-hmm.
And he's been one of those players that I was looking into this season to see if Roy can have a similar impact to what he done with Eze last season, and I think he has. But let's be honest, we went into the season talking about our strikers, and Odson Edward and Mateta have both, I think, been the surprise so far. Now, I understand with Sam Johnson, he's had a decent start. Will Hughes, he's been, good coming off the bench. Joakim Madison, Gay, but I think Edward has been the one that I'll pick out, and I think he deserves the praises because he has been scoring goals. Not only his goals, he looked way more up for it this season than the previous seasons that he's played at Palace. His link-up play, which is the most important element for me, because I don't think Edward will be scoring goals every single week. He is not that kind of player. But his link-up play and getting involved in the game, trying to impact the game, that has been very positive for me. And funny enough, in those games, he has scored goals, so it's not just his link-up play. But if he at least has the bare minimum, which he hasn't had in the past, then I can accept that. But what I couldn't accept is the fact that our strikers, they're hit and miss. They can score the occasional goal in 1 in 8 games, for example. That's what I can't accept. I want to see more from Palace strikers because, of course, we don't have the Haalands or, the top quality strikers that you have with the top 6 teams. We don't have that, but our strikers need to offer more, and we haven't seen that in the past. So for me, if I had to pick one player, yes, the defense being fine, it has to be Odson Edward. And Mateta, but I think I'm going to give it to Edward for his goals. But look, both of them have stepped up to the plate. And I'll be honest, if it wasn't for injuries, then I don't think many people will be talking about a striker situation. And it's just a lack of depth. We haven't still improved in the forward areas, and that's why we are in the position we're in. It's an awful crisis, but yeah, it's been good. What about, without getting too negative, what about a player that you think could have done a bit more? I mean, you're thinking about it.
Good question, and a tough one because I feel
you're forgetting one, but fair enough. I'll let you say.
But if I mean, I feel like I'm down on him a lot. I feel like I'm down on him a lot, but it's got to be Schlupp, man. It's got to be. I mean, because of all of these players that we're talking about that have played so well, our back four, how much of a absolute hero IU has been, and warrior IU has been. The one guy that stands out that has not played well, that has been that I guess eyesore, it's been Jeff Schlupp.
Hmm. So let's quickly talk about him then. What is it? What is it, T? For me, I'm just not seeing enough in his overall game. He just doesn't look fit. Let's start with the basics. He just doesn't look fit to play 90 minutes. And I'll be
Mhm.
honest, we haven't had that much competition, to be fair. Jez has been the only one who you can make the argument for whether he should be playing ahead of Schlupp. But Jez had the opportunity against Plymouth. He clearly didn't take it. He had he started against Man United. Yes, he got subbed off at halftime, but Amrabat just physically handled him. But against Forest, that was different. I think Forest was his breakthrough performance
Mhm.
because not only was it decent going forward and willing to take risks, which I think we needed because no one was willing to take on the defender and it was just pass, pass, pass. He was very good defensively as well. And if we know Roy Hodgson, he appreciates players that can do on both ends of the pitch. That's why we've kept 4 clean sheets. So
Yep. Yep.
we've been complaining about Jeff,
Yep.
but on a brighter note, unfortunately he got injured. But on a bright note, he's given Jez an opportunity off the bench against Forest. Normally, Jez doesn't, apart from the Plymouth game, he's played what? More than 10 minutes against the likes of Man United, Chelsea. Like he hasn't had the Forest or the Burnleys, then type of games. He's always had difficult games. And of course, you want players to step up, but he's been thrown in the
Mhm.
deep end at times. So against Forest, he was very good. Very good T. And based on that performance, do
Mhm.
you think he deserves more opportunities and do you think he'll get it?
Absolutely, I think he does. And with what we see with the injury to Jeff Schlupp, he's the heir apparent to step into that position, I believe, or should I say, for him to step in and for maybe IU to flip to the left side, or whatever it may be. I mean, I know he prefers playing on the right side, but yeah, I think he's a player that you get the opportunity to. He's young, he's talented, obviously showed what he can do against the Premier League side. I mean, he played what he played almost I want to say 60 minutes. He played a good amount in that match. So yeah, I think this time to have the opportunity. Once again, though, it's kind of funny, D, and I think people are going to in the future from this day forward, when people look back on this, if Jez blows up and Jez becomes a really big contributor, or for some people, as they say, a star, people are gonna look back on it and say, "Oh well, Jez got his start because of Roy Hodgson. Roy put Jez in there and made it happen for him." And it's like we're gonna be once again disproving those people, saying, "Hey, Jez got in because of injury. Let's not get this twisted. It's not like Roy put him out
But
there
that's the same
because of
with
how good he
Wan-Bissaka
thought
as
he
well.
was from the beginning." Yeah, that's what I'm saying. There's so many people that would say things about Wan-Bissaka. Oh, Wan-Bissaka got his start under Roy Hodgson. Tyreek Mitchell got his start under Roy Hodgson. It's because he believed in them, and they got in and did their thing. And it's like, nah, man, they got the opportunity because guys in front of them got hurt, and Roy didn't really have other options. So I want us to look back on
But do you
this
think the
and
reason why he
understand
hasn't
what
been
this
playing
man
is
is
because
for
of
what it
the
is. It's not the fact.
performances that we've seen, though, T? For against Plymouth and against Man United, he didn't look as good as he did against Forest. Do you think that's the reason why Roy didn't play him in the first place? Maybe you might have had a point saying that he's just not ready.
I mean, I can't say that. The only reason why I say that, the reason why I say I can't say that is because of the fact in those were cameo appearances. Those were super short appearances, and I don't think there's much he could have done outside of scoring a banger goal or getting an unbelievable assist in a very short amount of time for us to say, "Oh man, he's really good. He could really do it." He actually got some sustained minutes, and in him getting sustained minutes, we saw a performance that could show that he can play at this level. But it took us giving him 60 minutes to play. You know what I mean? Like I just feel like it was just necessary. It was necessary for him to get that opportunity to really just play free and play longer than 30 minutes or so.
Yeah, Yeah, 100%. And today we're gonna have a shorter show, people. We're gonna try to do more Palace news regularly now from here onwards. I know we've had since the window shut, we've been pretty inconsistent with Palace news. But tomorrow, I know there's a lot of talk about ownership, especially on socials like Twitter. A lot of people having this debate, and there's been a few comments here today as well about the reported parish or ownership out protest that's going to be happening at Newcastle. If there's no news tomorrow, then we'll probably try to cover that tomorrow around the same time at 10 o'clock. But we'll go through some of the comments before wrapping up because unfortunately we haven't had much time today. But consistency is key and we have to start somewhere. So I thought Monday, 10 p.m., we might as well start. And we'll be here most likely tomorrow at 10 p.m. as well if you're watching a replay. So make sure to join us then. Tim has a question saying, do you ease Jez in 30 minutes at a time or do you let him start? For me, I ease him in. But then again, if the options are Schlupp or him, I'll probably still take him over Schlupp, depending on the game. But yeah, if he's as good as defensively as he was against Forest, then there isn't any problems for me. But for you, T, do you think he should be starting more games to build that confidence? But it's about him coming off the bench, 30 minutes 30 minutes or 15, 20 minutes. That's fine, but not a minute or two, which happened, once or twice this season, which was pointless.
I think right now, being that we are in a situation where we're in the international window, I think when the time comes for us to play our next match, it just depends on who's available. You know what I mean? If a lot of the injuries that we saw from that Nottingham game carry over into our next match, along with the already sustained injuries that we had, I could see Jez starting. You know what I mean? Because Jeff Schlupp is still out. I think the Gyro got hurt too. Gyro
got
knocked.
We don't know if it's serious or not.
So you talk about another two guys down to add on to the list of guys that are already out. So if we don't get any of those guys back, you can see Jez out there starting. But in the event that we do get some guys back, we do have some guys healthy, maybe it's a situation where, we're seeing them come off the bench and getting a little bit more significant time, maybe coming on in the 55th or 60th minute and getting 30, 35 minutes of play to where he can get some sustained amount of play and he can show what he can do and maybe he can build up from there. But I guess it all really depends on who's available.
Yeah, it does. And on that note, we're going to wrap it up, people. If you have enjoyed it, smash the like button and also subscribe if you're new here as we're reaching 4,000 subscribers. Hopefully, we're way more consistent from this moment onwards. If we're not, get on to us or me in particular. Stop telling me to be lazy. But tomorrow, we will get back to this topic. Not this topic. Tim saying, are you serious? We are really going to protest Parish. That feels very frustrating. We'll be getting all your thoughts on it as well. I'll try to see if we can get someone on who's going to be, involved in the process to get their thoughts on it. And maybe someone who is against them to get, both sides of the story. But according to, Twitter, it seems like some people are going to protest and the game is sold out, which is interesting. Newcastle away from home. So yeah, I think it is going to happen, but I guess we'll have to see how serious it is and how many people do join in the protest and what the protests actually mean. Are they going to wave flags or are they going to have banners? Like, what is the protest? So yeah, look, we'll try to talk about that tomorrow if there's no other Palace news. So we'll be here tomorrow at 10 p.m. Sorry once again for being late to the stream. So we had to do a bit shorter, of course, because of me. Don't blame T. But that's it from me and T. And until next time, up the Palace.
Up the Palace.